Hi friends. So in the previous lectures, we have seen about 7 C's in DevOps. So now let's move ahead and let's see some important terms like CI/CD pipeline, build automation, and version control in the next sections. And also we'll learn about the tools used with them, right? So let's move ahead with version control. Okay, so this is the important one. So in many DevOps interview, it is asked. So version control systems are a category of software tools that helps in recording changes made to files by keeping a track of modification done in the code. So they just not keep a track. So if you have some version of a file, you can roll back to that version of a file, right? Now, what are the benefits from it? So, a complete long-term change history of every file, with which consists of your author's mail, and also the time and date while changing, right? Also, the branching and merging. So, it not needed that every developer will be working on the same branch, right? So, they might be working on different feature and different branch. Now they need to merge it also to the main line. So version control also provide the feature for merging to the same branch. Okay. Now if there is any conflict, they will resolve it by talking to each other and they will consider it to adding it to main line. Next one is traceability. So basically it keep track of every changes done by which author and when. Okay, so these are the main three benefits of version controlling, and version control is not only used in DevOps, so it is used in every development environment in IT world. Okay, now when you will talk about the version controlling system, you have three type of version control system. First one is local version control system. Second one is centralized version control system, and third one is distributed version control system. Okay, among these, they all having on advantages and on disadvantages, but the most of them are used is distributed version control system. Okay, so let's discuss one by one about all these types of version control system. Okay, now let's learn about local version control system. So now in here, there will be in your local version control system, there will be your local computer. Okay, in the local computer, there will be a version database of your local file. Okay, so there will be, and another side, there will be a file which is keeping track of your data or whatever version you are creating in that file. Okay, now in that version database, you will have different versions of your file. Okay, and they are also connected to each other. Means if you want to roll back version 1 to version 2, or if you want to upgrade your version 2 to version 3, or suppose if you want to downgrade your version 3 to version 2, so you will have that feature in your local version control system also. Okay, now the file is like your control of your version database. So if you want to track or if you want to roll back to any specific file, you just mention in the file system and it will be rolled back to a specific version. Okay, so that is your local version control system. So the advantage is very fast because it is not relying on any server, and the disadvantage is that it is on your local computer. Okay, now if you want to deploy any application, so you need to first configure your server integration with your local computer. Okay, so I'm hoping you are clear with local version control system. Now let's come on your centralized version control system. Okay, so please ignore this one. I think this might be some error with my PPT. Now, so basically there is three workstation. Okay, there are three workstation PC, and on all of these you might be working on a copy of a repository, right? Now there will be also a single repository on your server. So you have a connection like update or commit on each of the working copy to that single repository on a server. Okay, so you have a three copy of a file on which three individual developer are working on it, and all of these three copies are connected to a single repository on a server. Okay, and now you are sending update and commit updates to the server to and fro. Okay, So that's how centralized version control system works. Now the advantage is you can see that it's connected to a server. If you want to deploy, it's ready already. Okay. Now the main disadvantage is that there is no intermediate repository between them, right? So what you are doing, you are working on a working copy and then you are directly uploading on a server. Okay. So suppose if server, that single server is integrated with some application server, so it is directly pushing them or pulling them. Okay, if you are using automation. Now we don't want that. Suppose if any developer worked of code in a mistake and it he pushed or committed the code, so how it went? So it directly pushing to the server. Okay, so that's how centralized version control system sometimes may be referred as advantages and sometimes disadvantages. Okay, now the next one and most advanced is we have a distribution version control system. In here also we have three workstation PC and there are three working copy of this computer. Okay, now these three working copy of a computer are stored on a three repository, so they might be on your local PC or they might be on a server also. Okay, now the you are doing update commit to these to and from, and now above these repository you have a server repository. Okay, and from the server repository this local repository is being pulled or pushed. Okay, so now the advantage of this, whether you are going to push any wrong commit or pulling any wrong commit, you have an intermediate stage. Okay, now the disadvantage is that it is bit slower as compared to the centralized or local, but it's more secure and more reliable. Okay, so I am hoping you are clear with localized version control system, centralized version control system, and distributed version control system. Okay, now let's learn about the version controlling tools used in IT world. So first one is Mercurial. So Mercurial is a distributed version control system management tool. So it can handle project of any size and provides a simple interface. Okay, Mercury is easy to learn and they provide an array of guide and overview to ensure you quickly begin getting the most out of the tool. Okay, now next one you definitely must have heard about it. It's a Git. So it's an also a distributed version control system which is fast and efficient, and it can also handle project of any size. Okay, and the it's a icon for Git. You definitely might have heard of it. Next one is Bitbucket. So this is a version control software that support distributed version control and make it easy to collaborate on a code with a team. Okay, next one is GNU Bazaar. So a free and open source version tool that can track changes made on the file. Okay, so everyone has their own functionality if you will talk about their functionality. And next one is Subversion. So you might also heard about it with the Git. So it's an also free and open source, but it's a centralized version control tool. Okay, so this is a centralized and these three are distributed. Okay, so I am hoping you are clear with version control tools used in IT world. Now, I am hoping you are clear with every aspect of version control system. Now, let's meet in the next section with some more keywords used in DevOps along with the tools used with them. Okay, so till then, take care.